Tonight and only on News 5, victims of a townhome fire in southeast Colorado Springs back in March. They are getting some financial relief, thanks in part to our community.
But some of them still facing some huge financial burdens. News 5's Laura Wilson live tonight from the scene of that devastating fire to explain. Laura.
And about 70 people were displaced from the fire. And the problem is, it's not that they're just having to start over. They're still financially tied to what's on the other side of that fence. It's going to be a while.
Probably a year and a half.
Before Bill Purvine can go home.
Luckily, I have someplace to go that's charging me a quarter of the rent. How long I'll be able to stay there is unknown at this point.
These 20 townhomes were deemed unlivable after a fire ripped through them back in March. But homeowners are still stuck paying for the living expenses. How much money is going into this site every month?
About between, I'd say, $600 to $700.
And that's on the low end of the spectrum, according to Purvine, who was a renter. Homeowners still have to pay their monthly mortgage here and HOA fees.
We're paying for the trash and the water. But there's nowhere to put it.
That's on top of the rent and utilities they're having to pay at their temporary housing. Purvine says some insurance policies are helping with those costs, but not his.
That's really pushing budgets and squeezing it to where it's almost non-existent to continue to survive.
They were given a little breathing room recently. The Homeowners Association gave $2,000 to each household, and a Springs community group called on the public for some additional support.
The majority of our funding came from the Colorado Springs community. So, yeah, $19,000 worth, so it was amazing.
Tenants like Purvine say they're extremely grateful for the generosity, but they're also concerned about making it last.
A lot of that went straight towards the necessities and the HOA costs. I do have some of it saved off to the side, but for lack of better words, it's hemorrhaging the money.
And as we mentioned, it's going to take an estimated year and a half to rebuild. Now, Purvine is in sort of a unique situation. He said he was renting to own, so he could have walked away from all this and left the financial burden on the actual homeowner. But he says in the Springs housing market right now, this is one of the more affordable mortgages to have. So in the long run, it would make sense if he could hang on to it. Now, of course, the challenge is going to be making it through the next year and a half and trying to afford double rent each month. We'll keep you posted. Always watching out for you, Colorado Springs. Laura Wilson, News 5.